Hello and welcome. You're watching the news. I'm Gargi Rawat. Coming up ahead, Prime Minister Modi is in South Africa for the BRICS summit. We'll get you those details. Also, press champion Praggnanandhaa has drawn his first match of the Chess World Cup final. So more on that as well. Let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in South Africa to take part in the 3-day BRICS summit. The grouping will decide whether to include more countries. No word yet on whether there will be a bilateral between Prime Minister Modi and China's Xi Jinping. A huge moment for India in chess. Teen prodigy Praggnanandhaa has drawn the first of the 2 matches against world number 1 Magnus Carlsen. This after he defeated world number 2 and 3 to reach the Chess World Cup final. We're counting down to the Chandrayaan 3's Vikram lander making a soft landing on the moon's south pole tomorrow. The last 20 minutes will be the most agonizing for the country. India hoping to be the 4th country to achieve this feat. The Delhi government official accused of raping his friend's daughter is produced in court today. His wife has been sent to jail. The police sources have revealed the 14-year-old girl was drugged and raped in 2020 when she was staying in his home. She suffered panic attacks following the rapes. While heavy rainfall has caused devastation in hill states, many other states are struggling with below normal monsoon. Since the 1st of June this year, it's a 7% deficit across the country. And Jio Financial shares hit the lower circuit again today. The shares hit the lower circuit for the 2nd straight session. Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in South Africa today evening to take part in the 3-day BRICS summit that begins today. The visit comes amid buzz over a possible bilateral meeting with China's Xi Jinping. However, that has not been confirmed. Indian officials not confirming anything on that front. Now, this is the first in-person summit of BRICS comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa since 2019, though Vladimir Putin will join via video. An expansion of the BRICS bloc is also under consideration at the summit as BRICS seeks to be champion of the global south. The summit will also provide an opportunity to review progress of initiatives launched by the grouping and identify future areas of activities. You can see the Prime Minister there being greeted by the Indian diaspora there. The Prime Minister is attending the BRICS Business Forum Leaders Dialogue today and a dinner hosted by South African President Ramaphosa. Well, let's talk about what's on the cards for the BRICS Summit and what the big agenda is for the summit. And the controversial issue, however, is to expand or not to expand because all countries aren't on board on whether to admit more countries, though there are 40 countries actually wanting admission to this grouping. China and Russia in favor. Brazil is opposed to adding members. UAE, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia have applied to join BRICS. Talks on lending within the new development bank or BRICS Bank. Leaders also likely to discuss how they can improve economic ties. Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to have meetings with South Africa, Brazil presidents. Easier trade and investment, sustainable development also on the BRICS agenda. And the Prime Minister, as he headed to South Africa, said BRICS pursuing stronger cooperation across various sectors, will participate in BRICS Africa outreach and BRICS Plus dialogue. Looking forward to holding bilateral meeting with leaders. And my first visit to ancient land, Athens, Greece, on the 25th of August. Honored to be the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Greece after 40 years. He will be in Greece after South Africa.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk with you on this very historic day for Indian chess.
It is.
Look, first of all, Praggnanandhaa himself, this is just a sensational performance. His promise has been noted for many, many years. But since June this year, he's been on a tear. So he first played in the Global Chess League, had one of the best performances, maybe even third performance of the tournament. He then had a spectacular performance in Hungary. And then he's gone on to the World Cup. And in the World Cup, you have to be in the semifinals to qualify for the candidates which is then a stepping stone to the World Chess Championship.
Yep.
He did that. And he did that in style. He beat Hikaru Nakamura, the world number 2.
Yeah.
He's now in the finals because, he got to the semifinals, and because Magnus will not play the candidates, he's going to be in the candidates no matter what.
Yeah.
But then he went and beat Caruana as well. So he's beaten the top 2 Americans, the number 2 and number 3 in the world.
Number 3, right.
And he's going to play Magnus Carlsen, the world's highest ranked player. So just so much happening. Personally, Gukesh crossed me on the live rating list, first time in 37 years. Caruana then becomes the first Indian to reach a World Cup semi-final, then a World Cup final. And, in tomorrow, it's a 2-game match. So he'll play today and tomorrow. And tomorrow, he could be the first Indian to win a World Cup after I did. So, which is
Absolutely.
weird. And to have so many of my records in play in the same tournament.
Absolutely.
If he does it tomorrow, at around the time that Chandrayaan lands on the moon, well, it'll be too much.
Well, what interesting timing it would be, Gargi, if at all he wins tomorrow. And
Right.
that too at the same time when Chandrayaan lands, it is going to be interesting, like Vishwanathan Anand said.
Absolutely.
But as of now, the first match has been drawn. Tomorrow is going to be crucial because Praggnanandhaa will be defending with blacks, and he's pretty good at it. He has been, his defense game has been very, very solid. He in fact has competed against Carlsen, and with black pieces, he has done really, really well. So there is hope, and a lot of people are expecting him to give a tough fight to the world number 1.
Right, fingers crossed for tomorrow, and it'll be great excitement here, of course, on the channel as well. Thanks so much, Osama, for joining us with that. Now, while rain devastation in Himachal and Uttarakhand has dominated the headlines recently, the monsoon is actually in deficit. Many other states are struggling with below normal monsoon since the 1st of June this year. The country has received 7% less rainfall than the average.
While the above normal rainfall in northwest India has devastated Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, many states are struggling with below normal monsoon rainfall since the 1st of June this year. The latest Met Department report shows the southwest monsoon was 7% below normal till the 21st of August.
अभी क्या है कि जो ओवरऑल अगर हम रेनफॉल की बात करें मानसून सीजन की एज ए होल टिल टुडे स्पेसिफिकली स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम नागालैंड मणिपुर मिजोरम त्रिपुरा देन गैंगटॉक वेस्ट बंगाल झारखंड बिहार और ईस्ट यूपी इस राज्यों में रेनफॉल सामान्य से कम है.
The latest Met Department data shows Jharkhand received 37% below normal rainfall. Bihar has recorded a 32% shortfall. Gangetic West Bengal has reported a 29% below normal rainfall. In eastern UP, rainfall has been 35% below normal. Rainfall has been 17% below normal in Assam and Meghalaya, and 14% below normal in Chhattisgarh. In Saurashtra and Kutch, rainfall has been 72% above normal, 60% above normal in Rajasthan, and 35% above normal in Himachal Pradesh. This irregular rainfall has come in the middle of the Kharif sowing season.
The Agriculture Ministry data shows that the total area coverage recorded under all Kharif crops was around 1 lakh hectare more on 18th August 2023 vis-a-vis 18th August 2022. The area coverage under rice has recorded an increase of around 15 lakh hectare this year till 18th August, while the area coverage under pulses has declined by around 11 lakh 59,000 hectares.
लास्ट 2 इयर्स की प्रोडक्शन 317 लाख मेट्रिक टन और 318 लाख मेट्रिक टन हुई है. हमारा अभी तो खरीफ की सोइंग चालू है, थोड़ा डिले जरूर हुआ है, पर लगभग अनुमान है कि एरिया सेम रहेगा. अगर एरिया सेम रहता है तो मुझे लगता है कोई प्रोडक्शन में तकलीफ नहीं आएगी, पर्याप्त मात्रा में प्रोडक्शन हो जाएगी.
The Indian Met Department has forecast heavy rain across many states. Met scientists claim this can help compensate the deficient monsoon rainfall recorded till 21st August this year. It could also improve the sowing of important Kharif crops, especially pulses, in the coming days. In Delhi with camera person Mohammad Mursaleen and Himanshu Shekhar, Osama Shab for NDTV.
Rice prices in Asia have surged to their highest in almost 12 years due to various reasons: adverse weather conditions, dented production and supplies of Asia's primary staple food. Sakshi Bajaj has the details.
Is a rice crisis brewing in Asia? Well, with rice prices surging to their highest level in almost 12 years, some analysts believe so. So just what are the factors for rice rates spiking as much as this? While we all know climate change poses a major threat to global food security, rice in particular is vulnerable to these changes. Now, as per studies conducted, any increase in temperatures could refrain a healthy crop from developing, and the onset of the El Nino for the first time in 7 years has only added to this. El Nino typically brings warmer and drier conditions, which pose a challenging situation for rice cultivation altogether. And add to this, Russia's termination of the Black Sea grain deal has put more pressure on food supplies across Asia, already all hit by high temperatures, remember. And to those wondering, what was the Black Sea grain deal then? In July, the United Nations helped broker a deal between Ukraine, Turkey and Russia that enabled Ukraine to resume shipping millions of tons of desperately needed grain exports through the international waters of the Black Sea. The Black Sea Grain Initiative helped people in need across the globe by directly delivering desperately needed grains to lower income countries and bringing down food prices. And the termination of this agreement then has disrupted this equilibrium officially. Now, lastly, protectionist food policies and trade restrictions also have had an impact. Remember, India is the world's largest rice exporter and has decided to ban the exports of non-basmati white rice in July in a bid to protect domestic prices from rising and supplies being sufficient. And as per reports coming in, very initial reports at that, more restrictions may be in place to protect India's needs first, and those could be considered.
Now, the other big story from Delhi, the teen girl raped multiple times by suspended senior Delhi government official Premoday Khaka was drugged before each act of abuse and on one instance woke up to injuries on her body. This is what police sources are saying as more details are emerging of this crime that has shocked the city as well as the country. Police sources also said the young girl, then 14 years old, was depressed after her father had died in 2020. The first rape, according to the police, took place on the 31st of October 2020. This just likely after the girl, traumatized by her father's death, was packed off to Khaka's home in Burari in northeast Delhi by her mother less than 2 weeks later. The mother said the official had convinced her that she would be safe in his care. The official, who worked at the Women and Child Development Department, was produced in court today. His wife was also arrested and has been accused of giving the girl abortion pills. A horrific case there. Of those admitted to hospital with moderate to severe COVID infection, 6.5% died at the end of the one-year follow-up period. An ICMR study has found people experiencing post-COVID conditions after being discharged from the hospital were nearly 3 times more likely to die during the following year compared to those who did not report these symptoms. Let's go across to Nayantara for more. Nayantara, really a need to have more such studies to understand, the effects that COVID is having on people.
That's right, Gargi. In fact, this was the Indian Council of Medical Research's way of kind of conducting a new study on how COVID patients fared after being discharged from hospital. And it's bad news for those who had long COVID, because it turns out that there were 3-fold higher chances of them dying in that one-year period after being discharged from hospital. Although also those who were suffering from moderate to severe COVID, 6.5% of those patients also died 1 year post-discharge. In fact, the study also confirms what doctors have been saying for quite a while now, that patients above the age of 40 and those with pre-existing comorbidities were at higher risk of death than others. But there is some good news here, that the COVID vaccine proved to be highly effective, with just 1 dose providing a sizable protection to those who received it before contracting COVID. In fact, reducing chances of death by a whopping 60% in that crucial 1 year post-discharge period. About 14,000 participants were analyzed across 31 hospitals to gather this crucial data, improving our understanding of the novel coronavirus. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much for that, Nayantara. Now, in other news, premier travel agencies Thomas Cook and Red Apple Travel have been ordered to pay 50 lakh to a Delhi man who lost his wife, son and father-in-law in an accident during a visit to Sri Lanka. In fact, his wife, Kanupriya Sehgal, who died in December 2019 accident, was a former journalist and a news anchor and colleague of mine here at NDTV.
ये है पुरानी टाइप की राखी। इस बार बाजार में कुछ ऐसी डिजाइनर राखियों की बहार है। Kanupriya Sehgal.
4 years after journalist and former NDTV news anchor Kanupriya Sehgal died along with her son and father in a Colombo road accident, the Consumer Disputes Redressal Forum directed the travel agencies to pay 50 lakh rupees as compensation to Yogesh Sehgal, Kanupriya's husband. Yogesh and their daughter Aishwarya Sehgal had sustained severe injuries in the accident. The accident happened when the van they were travelling in collided with a container truck in Colombo. The 52-year-old driver of the van was also killed in the accident. The Sehgal family had gone to the forum against travel agencies Thomas Cook and Red Apple Travel, alleging negligence and deficiency in services, unfair trade practices and misleading advertisements. Nearly 4 years later, the Consumer Forum ruled the travel agencies could not be allowed to escape responsibility for the negligence of the driver hired by them.
I don't agree with the quantum. जो उन्होंने मेरे को quantum दिया है, लेकिन that's separate. ये लड़ाई पैसे के लिए थी भी नहीं.
पॉइंट्स क्या क्या थे?
पॉइंट बड़ा सिंपल था. उन्होंने पहले बताया कि जो ड्राइवर था उसकी उम्र बहुत ज्यादा थी, वो मेडिकली अनफिट था. जो पुलिस का एफआईआर है वो क्लियरली कहता है कि ड्राइवर की गलती है. जो गाड़ी थी वो भी लाइसेंस नहीं थी, वो भी टैक्सी नहीं थी, प्राइवेट व्हीकल था. ये भी कोर्ट ने ऑब्जर्व किया है कि जो ड्यू केयर करना चाहिए था ट्रैवल एजेंसी को, वो ट्रैवल एजेंसी ने नहीं किया.
The 50 lakh rupees compensation has to be paid by the travel agencies jointly and severally within 3 months, failing which they have to pay another 10 lakh rupees, the forum said in its order. With Parimal, NDTV Bureau Report.
In other news, the share price of Jio Financial Services slid 5% today, hitting its lower circuit for the second consecutive session due to worries about passive outflows. It hit the lower circuit for a second straight session. On listing, JFS witnessed 5% lower circuit, and that continued today. Experts are saying that investors are concerned on JFS operations not fully launched. Shareholders of RIL got 1 JFS share for every RIL share. And finally, India's Chandrayaan-3 is all set to create history. On Wednesday, the nation will go through one of the most agonizing 20 minutes. Those are the final minutes when the Vikram lander goes in to attempt a soft landing on the moon's surface in the evening. It will be on the moon's south pole, and with this, India is hoping to become the 4th nation to land on the moon. NDTV's Pallav Bagla explains the details of this landing process and the journey so far for Chandrayaan-3.
Here we have a majestic liftoff of LTM-3 M4 rocket carrying India's prestigious Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft.
India's celestial 20 minutes of terror. India will go through a nail-biting 20 minutes of terror or a T20 finish.
Liftoff normal, P1 tracking.
After a majestic liftoff, ISRO's Bahubali rocket put Chandrayaan-3 in the Earth's orbit.
200 stages are separated.
Chandrayaan-3 took many rounds of the Earth gaining velocity. On August 1st, 2023, Chandrayaan was nudged towards the moon on its 3.84 lakh kilometer lonely journey. On August 5th, 2023, the Chandrayaan satellite gently entered into the moon's orbit and settled in its embrace. In a crucial maneuver, the propulsion module and the Vikram lander with the Pragyan rover separated on August 17, 2023, when the satellite was in a 153 km by 163 km orbit. Soon, the Vikram lander is brought closer to the moon's surface in an elliptical orbit before the powered descent can begin. On the day of the landing, the 20 minutes of terror or the T20 kick in for a nail-biting finish. In the powered descent, the Vikram starts hurtling down towards the moon's surface at a velocity of 1.68 kilometers per second, which is nearly 6,048 kilometers per hour, almost 10 times the velocity of an airplane. Vikram is now slowing down with all 4 engines firing, but the lander is still almost horizontal to the surface of the moon. It then touches down on the lunar surface with just 2 engines firing, and the legs have been designed to take a maximum impact of 3 meters per second or about 10.8 kilometers per hour. Once the sensors on the legs feel the surface, the engines are shut down and the 20 minutes of terror are over. India's flag reaches the moon surface. Subsequently, the ramp opens up, the Pragyan rover is rolled down. Once the Pragyan rover reaches the lunar surface, the rover is then free to move around the moon. The big moment arrives when the Vikram lander takes images of the rover and the Pragyan rover takes images of the lander. The first selfies by India from the lunar surface are then beamed back to India. Now, the real science can begin. The Vikram lander and the rover are both solar powered and are made to last 1 lunar day, which translates to 14 Earth days. In New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.